Imagine cities rising from the ocean depths, a world of underwater farms and homes, innovative transportation systems connecting these submerged metropolises. This sounds like science fiction, but it's the potential future of ocean colonization. Today, we'll dive into the possibilities and the challenges and the potential impact of this emerging frontier.
It really is fascinating because we're not just talking about futuristic fantasies anymore. Real-world projects and concepts are emerging,
That's right.
driven by the need for space resources and maybe even a little bit of that pioneering spirit that we've always had as humans.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Our sources cover everything from transforming cruise ships into permanent residences to constructing entire floating cities, like Oceanic City, with its interconnected, self-sufficient villages designed to float on the surface. Some of these concepts even look like a real-life version of Rapture from BioShock.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. I mean, the motivations here go beyond just escaping overcrowded cities, though.
Yeah.
Ocean colonization could unlock untapped resources like minerals and new energy sources. And it could also offer resilience against natural disasters. Imagine settlements that are less vulnerable to earthquakes, wildfires, and rising sea levels compared to land-based cities.
So how could we build these ocean colonies? I mean, the sources lay out some pretty mind-blowing options, from offshore construction on the ocean floor or surface to massive floating structures or VLFSs drifting on the ocean like artificial islands.
Yeah, those VLFSs are really interesting. They can be stabilized using a variety of techniques and materials. Think about platforms that are anchored to the seabed, tethered to floating breakwaters, or even using dynamic positioning systems. Building these structures to withstand waves and storms, though that's a significant engineering challenge for sure.
What about people who aren't quite ready to live full-time beneath the surface? I read about converting existing cruise ships into permanent residences, like a luxury apartment building that's constantly sailing around the world.
Yeah.
It's interesting because it's not totally unprecedented. The MS The World, the residential cruise ship launched back in 2002, is already home to people living and traveling aboard full-time.
Yeah, that's a great example. And there's also the Freedom Ship concept. Have you heard of that?
I haven't, no.
Yeah, it's a massive vessel over 4,000 feet long. It was envisioned to house tens of thousands of residents with shops, schools, hospitals, and even an airport on board.
Oh, wow.
While it's faced challenges in terms of funding and engineering, it demonstrates the scale that some people envision for this kind of thing.
I see. Underwater habitats like Aquarius and Sea Lab, they provide another glimpse into potential future living. While they've mainly been used for research, they offer valuable insights into adapting daily life to an underwater environment.
Exactly. They're like testing grounds for the technology and human adaptations needed for larger-scale ocean colonization. They've helped us understand the effects of prolonged pressure exposure, the importance of life support systems, and even the psychological impact of living in isolation.
These diverse approaches raise an interesting question. Why are we even considering ocean colonization in the first place?
Well, overpopulation is a significant factor. With a finite amount of land and a growing global population, the ocean offers a new frontier for expansion, potentially easing housing shortages and providing new opportunities.
Okay. And as climate change intensifies, ocean settlements might offer a haven from rising sea levels and other natural disasters. It's not just about escaping problems on land, but also about capitalizing on new opportunities that the ocean presents.
Exactly. The oceans are brimming with untapped resources, minerals, energy sources, and new avenues for food production like aquaculture and algae farming.
Oh, wow.
Some proponents even suggest the potential for political and economic autonomy, like establishing new nations with their own rules and systems.
That brings us to seasteading, which promotes self-governing communities at sea. Imagine seasteads experimenting with direct democracy, resource-based economies, or even new models of conflict resolution.
Right.
This could provide valuable insights for land-based societies as well.
It's a grand experiment in living resource management and even governance, offering a potential glimpse into a utopian future.
Yeah.
However, before we get carried away by all the possibilities, I think we need to acknowledge the significant challenges too.
Yeah,
Ocean colonization is not without its downsides.
for sure. The sources highlight some major concerns, especially the potential environmental impact. Building and maintaining these structures could disrupt delicate marine ecosystems, We have to remember that the ocean is not a blank slate. It's a complex web of life.
Yeah, minimizing our footprint is going to require innovation. Sustainable building materials, renewable energy sources, and responsible waste management are absolutely crucial.
That's right.
We need to build systems that integrate with the ocean environment and not dominate it.
There are also huge technological challenges. Building durable structures in such a demanding environment, ensuring a consistent supply of energy and fresh water, and handling waste disposal without harming the ecosystem. Those all require ingenuity.
We're talking about inventing entirely new ways of doing things, from energy generation to building materials to basic sanitation. This is why we see so much emphasis on sustainability and innovation in these concepts.
The high costs associated with these endeavors also can't be overlooked. Research, development, and construction in such a harsh environment, they demand substantial financial resources.
Absolutely.
Securing funding and ensuring economic viability are crucial for the success of any ocean colonization project.
And it's not just the environmental and technological aspects. There are also societal and political concerns that arise. Who governs these settlements? What laws apply? How do we ensure ethical treatment of residents and avoid exploitation? These are complex issues that require careful consideration.
Logistical difficulties abound as well. Transportation, communication, and access to healthcare and education in remote ocean locations. These are all crucial considerations. We need innovative solutions for maintaining these vital lifelines in a challenging and isolated environment.
It's easy to think of ocean colonization as a far-off scenario, but the technology and ideas are being developed now. These decisions and developments will have ripple effects across society, whether or not we personally plan to live in an ocean settlement.
So how might ocean colonization impact our lives, even if we never set foot in an underwater city? I mean, should we be paying attention to this?
Absolutely. The development of new technologies for sustainable living, energy production, and resource management could benefit everyone, not just ocean dwellers.
I see. The sources discuss adapting to a new lifestyle with limited space, greater reliance on technology, and a different way of thinking about community. Is this something we need to prepare for?
While not everyone will choose to live in an ocean settlement, understanding the challenges and opportunities it presents can help us make informed decisions about the future. Consider the ripple effects of these technological advancements on land-based industries, social structures, and even our understanding of human potential.
This feels like something we should discuss more in our communities, in our schools, even around the dinner table.
Right.
The more informed we are about the possibilities and potential pitfalls, the better equipped we'll be to shape this future responsibly.
I agree. Open dialogue and collaboration are essential. Engaging with experts, policymakers, and citizens alike will be crucial in navigating the ethical, environmental, and societal implications of ocean colonization.
We've covered the what and the why of ocean colonization, but the bigger question looming is how. How do we do this ethically and responsibly?
That's the million-dollar question. It's going to require input from scientists, engineers, policymakers, ethicists, and everyday citizens. We need to think critically about the kind of future we want to create in this new frontier.
So what are some key areas we need to focus on to ensure responsible development?
Well, minimizing environmental impact is paramount. We need technologies and practices that allow us to coexist with the ocean ecosystem, not exploit it. This involves developing sustainable building materials, using renewable energy sources, and implementing responsible waste management systems.
The sources emphasize the need for international cooperation and regulation, transparent governance structures, and a commitment to sustainability beyond economic profit. We essentially need a new set of maritime laws for this new kind of society.
And we need to ensure the economic benefits of ocean colonization are distributed equitably. We don't want to create a system where only the wealthy can afford to live in these new frontiers.
That's right.
Some sources express concern that ocean colonization could become a playground for the elite, further widening the gap between the haves and the have-nots.
That's a crucial point. We must be mindful of the potential for exacerbating existing inequalities and ensure that access to these new opportunities is fair and just.
It's important to have these conversations now while these concepts are still being developed, to steer the ship in the right direction. We have a chance to shape this future responsibly, but it requires thoughtful planning, ethical considerations, and a willingness to embrace innovation and change.
Ocean colonization is a complex, multifaceted issue with the potential to reshape our world. It's both exciting and daunting.
Absolutely.
And it's definitely something we'll hear much more about in the coming years.
If we approach this frontier with a balance of ambition and responsibility, we might unlock a future that benefits both humanity and the ocean. But balance is key. We need to move beyond the allure of technological advancements and delve into the ethical, social, and environmental considerations that will ultimately determine the success or failure of this endeavor.
What makes this topic so fascinating is that it's not just about the technology or the structures, but about the choices we make and the values we prioritize as we venture into this uncharted territory. Listeners, we've explored many aspects of ocean colonization. Now we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on the potential benefits and challenges? What stands out to you? Share your insights in the comments below.
What intrigues you most about this concept? Are you excited about the possibilities or concerned about the potential risks? We encourage you to delve deeper into the information available and consider how this potential future might impact your own life and the world around you.
Let's move on to some fascinating architectural concepts and delve deeper into the types of ocean settlements being proposed.
So let's unpack some of these radical architectural concepts, starting with land reclamation as a way to create new landmass in the ocean. This technique, already used in projects like the Palm Islands in Dubai and Kansai International Airport in Japan, involves extending existing land masses or creating new islands by depositing materials like sand rock and concrete onto the seabed.
It's important to remember that reshaping the ocean floor has consequences for marine life and ecosystems.
Any approach to ocean colonization needs to prioritize sustainability and minimize disruption to the natural environment. That's why many concepts focus on structures designed to integrate with rather than dominate the ocean. VLFSs offer a way to create habitable space without directly altering the seabed.
The oceanic city concept, with its modular system of interconnected platforms like floating neighborhoods, is a prime example of this integrated approach. It envisions a sustainable, self-sufficient community that adapts to the ocean environment.
Then we have seasteads, which are focused on creating independent communities. The Seasteading Institute has long promoted this idea, arguing that floating settlements could offer a chance to experiment with new forms of governance and social structures. It's like a laboratory for societal innovation.
However, seasteading raises questions about accountability and regulation. Who governs these communities? What laws apply? These are complex issues that would need careful consideration.
Repurposing existing cruise ships is a more pragmatic approach utilizing existing technology. It's a way to create habitable space without the need for complex underwater construction.
Instead of building elaborate underwater habitats, we could simply transform a giant ship into a floating apartment complex. The Freedom Ship concept envisioned a self-contained city at sea complete with shops, schools, hospitals, and even an airport.
While the Freedom Ship faced challenges, the concept of cruise ships as permanent residences has real-world grounding. The MS World, while on a smaller scale, demonstrates the feasibility of this idea.
We're starting to see the range of possibilities here, from building up from the seabed to creating massive floating structures. There are so many different ways we could approach ocean colonization.
Each approach comes with advantages, challenges, and ethical considerations. We must carefully consider the long-term consequences for both the ocean environment and ourselves.
Underwater habitats designed for smaller-scale, research-focused applications offer valuable insights into the challenges of living beneath the waves. Projects like Aquarius Sea Lab and Tektite have provided data on the effects of pressure, the importance of life support systems, and the psychological impact of isolation.
These habitats are testing grounds for the technology and human adaptations needed for larger-scale ocean colonization. They help us understand the physical and psychological challenges of living in this unique environment.
So while underwater cities might be a long way off, the research and technology being developed for smaller-scale underwater habitats could lay the groundwork for more ambitious projects.
It's a fascinating interplay between science engineering and human ingenuity. As we push the boundaries of what's possible, we also expand our understanding of what it means to be human, to adapt, to innovate.
It's like we're on the verge of a new era of exploration, not just of the ocean, but of our own potential.
But it's also a story that requires careful consideration of the ethical and environmental implications. We can't rush into this frontier without thinking about the long-term consequences.
As we explore the possibilities of ocean colonization, we need to do so responsibly, sustainably, and with deep respect for the ocean itself.
Let's shift our focus to the potential impact of ocean colonization on individuals and society. We'll explore the possible evolutionary shifts, cultural transformations, and the more immediate impacts we might see in our lifetimes.
The sources touch on some mind-blowing possibilities like human evolution, taking a whole new course under the sea.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine generations of people living in an underwater environment, adapting to the unique pressures and conditions.
Right.
Could we see changes in our physiology, genetics, even our sensory perception?
While dramatic evolutionary changes would likely take a very long time, even in the shorter term, living in an ocean settlement could lead to significant cultural and societal shifts.
Imagine new forms of art, music, literature, even cuisine, all inspired by the underwater environment and the challenges of ocean living.
These isolated communities, with their reliance on technology and close connection to the ocean, could foster entirely new social structures and values.
It's not just about changing our physical environment, but also our cultural landscape,
Mhm.
our ways of thinking, our very identities.
Ocean colonization offers a chance to explore what it means to be human in a fundamentally different context.
Beyond these long-term shifts, how might ocean colonization change the world as we know it in our lifetimes?
One significant impact could be on global politics and economics. The sources mention the potential for ocean settlements to become independent nations, creating new players on the world stage.
Imagine these self-governing communities with their own laws, resources, and ways of doing things. How would that shift the balance of power? How would it impact trade diplomacy, even conflict? It's like adding a whole new dimension to geopolitics.
And then there's the economic impact. The development of ocean-based industries like aquaculture, energy production, and tourism could create entirely new economic opportunities and potentially reshape global markets.
This feels like a massive paradigm shift, with the potential to impact everything from how we live to how we govern ourselves to how we interact with the world around us.
It's a reminder that innovation doesn't just happen in laboratories and research facilities. It happens when we push the boundaries of what's possible, when we reimagine our relationship with the planet, and when we dare to venture into the unknown.
As we dive deeper into this concept of ocean colonization, we're not just exploring the depths of the ocean, but also the depths of our own potential, our capacity for change, and our ability to shape the future.
And as we navigate this uncharted territory, it's crucial that we do so with a sense of curiosity, a spirit of collaboration, and a deep respect for the delicate balance of life that sustains us all.
Now let's turn our attention to the fictional city of Rapture from the BioShock games.
Yeah.
It's a cautionary tale that offers valuable insights into the potential pitfalls of ocean colonization.
Rapture, a stunning underwater metropolis built on the ideals of individual freedom and unfettered capitalism, ultimately collapsed under its own hubris. It serves as a stark reminder of the importance of balance and the dangers of unchecked ambition.
Rapture's founder, Andrew Ryan, was so focused on creating a utopia free from external influence that he failed to foresee the potential for internal conflict and corruption. His philosophy of objectivism, which prioritized individual achievement above all else, ultimately contributed to the city's downfall.
Yeah, objectivism, with its emphasis on rational self-interest and the rejection of altruism, created a system where the pursuit of individual success overshadowed any sense of community or shared responsibility.
The discovery of Adam, a substance that granted superhuman abilities, further fueled this individualistic pursuit of power and ultimately led to Rapture's descent into chaos and civil war.
Rapture's story highlights the importance of establishing a strong ethical framework as we venture into the real world of ocean colonization. We need to be clear about our values, our goals, and the limits we are willing to set to ensure the well-being of both the human and the ocean environments.
The sources emphasize the need for international cooperation, transparent governance structures, and a commitment to sustainability that goes beyond economic profit. We need to create a system where individual freedom is balanced with a sense of shared responsibility, where innovation is guided by ethical considerations, and where the pursuit of progress doesn't come at the expense of the planet or its inhabitants.
Rapture, while fictional, offers a valuable lesson. As we move forward with ocean colonization, we need to proceed with caution, a clear vision, and a strong ethical compass. We must learn from the mistakes of the past and strive to create a future that benefits both humanity and the ocean.
Let's shift gears for a moment and imagine the best-case scenario. What if we do this right?
Yeah.
What could a successful, sustainable future of ocean colonization look like?
Imagine thriving ocean cities designed in harmony with the marine environment, powered by renewable energy and home to diverse communities living in balance with nature.
Think underwater farms producing fresh, sustainable, food-innovative transportation systems connecting these submerged metropolises and new forms of art and culture inspired by the underwater world.
These settlements could become hubs of scientific discovery, technological innovation, and even social experimentation as we explore new ways of living, governing, and interacting with each other and the planet.
It's a vision of a future where humanity has expanded its horizons, not just physically, but also intellectually, ethically, and creatively.
And perhaps in adapting to this new environment, we might even discover something new about ourselves. Our resilience, our adaptability, and our capacity for innovation.
Ocean colonization is a bold idea, a complex challenge, and a potential pathway to a truly extraordinary future.
It's a future that requires us to think differently, to collaborate across disciplines and cultures, and to push the boundaries of what's possible while remaining mindful of our responsibilities to each other and to the planet.
What makes this topic so compelling is that it's not just about building structures in the ocean. It's about building a better future for humanity, one that is both sustainable and inspiring.
It's about harnessing our collective ingenuity to solve some of the most pressing challenges facing our planet, from overpopulation to climate change to resource scarcity.
It's about reimagining what's possible and embracing the unknown with a sense of wonder, curiosity, and a deep commitment to creating a future that benefits all of us.
It's intriguing how ocean colonization pushes us to rethink how we design and build structures. We're talking about creating habitable environments in one of the most challenging settings imaginable.
Let's delve into those architectural concepts. You mentioned land reclamation earlier. Could you elaborate on the engineering challenges and specific technologies involved?
Land reclamation is a massive undertaking. I mean, it involves dredging and transporting huge volumes of sand, rock, concrete, then carefully compacting them on the seabed to create a stable foundation for projects like the Palm Islands. They even use GPS-guided dredgers and vibrocompaction techniques to ensure precise placement and density of the fill material.
It's like constructing an entirely new landscape. But underwater, it makes you wonder about the potential ecological impact.
Yeah, you're right to raise that concern. Extensive land reclamation can disrupt marine habitats, alter sediment flow, and even impact water quality. It's crucial to carefully assess the environmental consequences before embarking on such large-scale projects.
So what about those floating cities? How do they address the environmental challenges posed by land reclamation?
Well, VLFSs offer a more eco-friendly approach by minimizing contact with the seabed instead of altering the ocean floor. They float on the surface, much like a giant pontoon.
But how do you keep a massive structure like that stable in the ever-changing ocean environment? I can't imagine it's easy to account for waves, currents, and storms.
That's where some incredible engineering comes into play. Some VLFSs are anchored to the seabed, while others are tethered to floating breakwaters that dissipate wave energy. There are even concepts using dynamic positioning systems like those found on offshore drilling platforms to constantly adjust their position and counteract the forces of wind and waves.
It sounds incredibly complex. What materials are used to build these structures?
Well, durable materials like steel concrete and high-strength composites are common choices. However, researchers are also exploring innovative materials like bioconcrete, which has a lower carbon footprint and can even repair itself over time, making it a more sustainable and resilient option for ocean construction.
That's amazing. It seems like every aspect of ocean colonization is pushing the boundaries of human ingenuity.
Absolutely. It requires us to think creatively and come up with solutions that are not only functional, but also sustainable and harmonious with the ocean environment.
Earlier, we touched on the concept of seasteading, these self-governing communities at sea. Sound intriguing. Can you elaborate on the types of social and political structures they might adopt?
Well, seasteading advocates often envision these communities as experimental hubs for new forms of governance. Imagine direct democracy platforms where residents have a direct say in decision-making, blockchain-based systems for transparent governance, and even resource-based economies, where the focus is on sustainability and shared prosperity.
It's a fascinating thought, a chance to reimagine how societies function unshackled from the constraints of traditional land-based systems. But wouldn't this also raise concerns about accountability and regulation?
You're right. The lack of established legal frameworks and oversight could create opportunities for exploitation and even lawlessness. Determining jurisdiction, ensuring human rights, and preventing environmental damage would be critical challenges for any seasteading community.
It seems like every potential benefit of ocean colonization comes with a set of complex challenges that need careful consideration.
That's the reality of venturing into uncharted territory. We need to be mindful of the potential consequences, both positive and negative, and strive for a balanced approach that prioritizes both human progress and environmental stewardship.
Let's move on to another concept we discussed earlier, transforming cruise ships into permanent residences. It sounds like a more practical and readily available option compared to building underwater cities.
It's certainly a more familiar concept, and we already have examples like the World, a residential cruise ship that's been in operation for over 2 decades. However, scaling this concept up to accommodate tens of thousands of residents, as envisioned in the Freedom Ship proposal, presents significant engineering and logistical challenges.
What are some of the key hurdles they would need to overcome?
Well, building a vessel of that size would be a monumental task requiring innovative construction techniques and materials, providing essential services like freshwater waste management and healthcare on such a massive scale would also be a huge undertaking. Then there's the issue of propulsion. Powering a city-sized ship would require a massive and sustainable energy source.
It seems like repurposing existing cruise ships might be a more feasible starting point, but even then, there are numerous logistical and infrastructural challenges to address.
Absolutely. We need to consider factors like transportation communication and access to essential resources. Imagine living on a floating city. How would you commute to work? How would you stay connected with loved ones on land? Where would your food and water come from?
These are all crucial questions that need to be answered before we can truly envision a sustainable future for ocean living.
It's not just about creating a place to live, it's about creating a thriving, self-sufficient community that meets the needs of its residents while minimizing its impact on the surrounding environment.
Speaking of adapting to life underwater, those underwater habitats we mentioned earlier offer valuable lessons. They provide a glimpse into the challenges and possibilities of living beneath the waves.
You're right. These underwater research stations like Aquarius and Sea Lab have allowed scientists to experience firsthand the physiological and psychological effects of prolonged submersion. They've also served as testing grounds for innovative technologies and life support systems crucial for sustaining human life in an underwater environment.
Can you give us some specific examples of the technologies and adaptations they've developed?
Well, they've experimented with advanced diving equipment that allows for longer and deeper dives, developed closed-loop life support systems that recycle air and water, and even explored the use of underwater robots for maintenance and exploration tasks.
It's like they're paving the way for a future where humans can live and work seamlessly in an underwater environment.
That's the ultimate goal, to expand our understanding of the ocean and our ability to interact with it in a sustainable and meaningful way.
But what about the psychological impact of living underwater? I imagine it could be quite isolating and disorienting to be constantly submerged.
That's a valid concern. Studies have shown that prolonged isolation can lead to psychological stress, mood swings, and even cognitive impairment. Designing underwater habitats that provide a sense of connection to the surface world, offer opportunities for social interaction, and promote mental well-being would be crucial for the success of any long-term ocean settlement.
It seems like every aspect of ocean colonization, from the engineering challenges to the social and psychological considerations, requires a holistic and innovative approach. We need to think beyond just building structures and consider the intricate interplay between human needs, technological capabilities, and the delicate balance of the ocean ecosystem.
You hit the nail on the head. Ocean colonization is not simply about conquering a new frontier. It's about coexisting with it, learning from it, and ultimately becoming stewards of a vast and largely unexplored realm.
We've been talking about underwater habitats and the challenges of adapting to life beneath the waves. But what about those science fiction-esque visions of entire cities under the sea like Rapture? I mean, are those just fantasy, or could they actually become a reality?
Well, building a complex, self-sufficient city beneath the waves like that presents some truly monumental technological hurdles.
I can imagine.
We're talking about innovations on a scale we've never seen before to address the pressure, the corrosion, the challenges of getting energy and resources to those depths.
That makes sense. And what about the human element? I mean, could we as humans really adapt to living in a permanently enclosed, artificially lit environment so far removed from the surface world?
Those are really good questions, and those are exactly the kinds of questions that researchers and engineers are grappling with right now as they explore the possibilities of underwater living. While underwater cities might be a long way off, the research and the technologies that are being developed for smaller scale habitats like the ones we discussed earlier could pave the way for those more ambitious projects in the future.
Yeah, it's a fascinating dance between science engineering and human ingenuity as we push the boundaries of what's possible. We also expand our understanding of what it means to be human, to adapt, to innovate.
Exactly. And that's part of what makes this whole topic so compelling. It's a story of discovery. It's a story of pushing limits. It's a story of reimagining the future. But it's also a story that requires us to carefully consider the ethical and the environmental implications.
Yeah, we can't just charge into this new frontier without really thinking about the long-term consequences. So as we explore all these possibilities of ocean colonization, we need to do so responsibly, sustainably, and with a deep respect for the ocean itself.
I completely agree. Now let's transition for a moment from this realm of engineering and technology to the realm of human behavior, culture, and evolution. How might ocean colonization impact us as individuals and as a society?
Well, the sources touch on some pretty mind-blowing possibilities, like human evolution, taking a whole new course under the sea. Imagine generations of people living in an underwater environment and adapting to those unique pressures and conditions.
It's a wild thought.
Could we actually see changes in our physiology, in our genetics, even in our sensory perception?
While those kinds of dramatic evolutionary changes would likely take a very, very long time, even in the shorter term, I think living in an ocean settlement could lead to some pretty significant cultural and societal shifts.
Such as?
Well, imagine new forms of art, music, literature, even cuisine, all inspired by that underwater environment and the unique challenges of ocean living.
Interesting.
These isolated communities, with their reliance on technology and their close connection to the ocean, could foster entirely new social structures and values.
It's not just about changing our physical environment then, but also our cultural landscape, the way we think our very identities.
Yeah, ocean colonization really offers a chance to explore what it means to be human in a fundamentally different context.
So we've talked about some of these long-term possibilities, but how about the more immediate impacts? Right? How might ocean colonization change the world as we know it, even within our own lifetimes?
One significant impact could be on global politics and economics. The sources that we looked at, they mention the potential for these ocean settlements to become independent nations, creating new players on the world stage.
So imagine these self-governing communities with their own laws, their own resources, their own ways of doing things. I mean, how would that shift the balance of power? How would it impact trade diplomacy, even conflict? It's like adding a whole new dimension to geopolitics.
Exactly. And then you have the economic impact to consider. The development of ocean-based industries like aquaculture, energy production, and tourism could create entirely new economic opportunities and potentially reshape global markets.
This feels like a massive paradigm shift with the potential to impact everything from how we live to how we govern ourselves to how we interact with the world around us.
It really is. It's a reminder that innovation doesn't just happen in laboratories and research facilities. It happens when we push the boundaries of what's possible, when we reimagine our relationship with the planet, and when we dare to venture into the unknown.
It's true, as we dive deeper into this concept of ocean colonization, we're not just exploring the depths of the ocean, but also the depths of our own potential, our capacity for change, and our ability to shape the future.
And as we navigate this uncharted territory, it's crucial that we do so with a sense of curiosity, a spirit of collaboration, and a deep respect for that delicate balance of life that sustains us all.
We've talked a lot about the potential benefits and the challenges of ocean colonization, but now let's revisit that fictional city of Rapture from the BioShock games. It serves as kind of a cautionary tale, and it offers some really valuable insights, I think, into the potential pitfalls of ocean colonization.
Rapture is fascinating because on the surface, it was this stunning underwater metropolis built on these ideals of individual freedom and unfettered capitalism, but ultimately it collapsed under its own hubris. It serves as a really stark reminder, I think, of the importance of balance and the dangers of unchecked ambition.
Yeah, Rapture's founder, Andrew Ryan, he was so focused on creating a utopia that was free from any kind of external influence that he failed to foresee the potential for internal conflict and corruption, and his philosophy of objectivism, which prioritized individual achievement above all else, ultimately, I think, contributed to the city's downfall.
Objectivism, with its emphasis on rational self-interest and the rejection of altruism, it created a system where the pursuit of individual success completely overshadowed any sense of community or shared responsibility.
And then the discovery of Adam, this substance that granted superhuman abilities, further fueled this individualistic pursuit of power, and it ultimately led to Rapture's descent into chaos and civil war.
This story of Rapture, it really highlights the importance of establishing a strong ethical framework as we venture into this real world of ocean colonization. We need to be clear about our values, our goals, and the limits that we're willing to set to ensure the well-being of both the human and the ocean environments.
The sources that we've looked at, they emphasize the need for international cooperation, for transparent governance structures, and for a commitment to sustainability that goes beyond just economic profit. We need to create a system where individual freedom is balanced with a sense of shared responsibility, where innovation is guided by ethical considerations, and where the pursuit of progress doesn't come at the expense of the planet or its inhabitants.
Rapture, while fictional, offers a valuable lesson as we move forward with ocean colonization. We need to proceed with caution, with a clear vision, and with a strong ethical compass. We must learn from the mistakes of the past and strive to create a future that benefits both humanity and the ocean.
So let's shift gears for a moment and imagine the best-case scenario. What if we do this right? What could a successful, sustainable future of ocean colonization actually look like?
Imagine thriving ocean cities that are designed in harmony with the marine environment, powered by renewable energy, and home to these diverse communities that are living in balance with nature.
Underwater farms producing fresh, sustainable food, innovative transportation systems, connecting these submerged metropolises and new forms of art and culture that are inspired by this underwater world.
It's exciting to think about these settlements could become hubs of scientific discovery, technological innovation, and even social experimentation as we explore these new ways of living, governing, and interacting with each other and with the planet.
It's a vision of a future where humanity has expanded its horizons, not just physically, but intellectually, ethically, and creatively.
And maybe in adapting to this new environment, we might even discover something new about ourselves, our resilience, our adaptability, and our capacity for innovation.
Ocean colonization. It's a bold idea, it's a complex challenge, and it's a potential pathway to a truly extraordinary future.
It's a future that requires us to think differently, to collaborate across disciplines and cultures, and to push the boundaries of what's possible while remaining mindful of our responsibilities to each other and to the planet.
What makes this topic so compelling is that it's not just about building structures in the ocean. It's about building a better future for humanity, one that is both sustainable and inspiring.
It's about harnessing our collective ingenuity to solve some of the most pressing challenges that are facing our planet, from overpopulation to climate change to resource scarcity.
It's about reimagining what's possible and embracing the unknown with a sense of wonder, with curiosity, and with a deep commitment to creating a future that benefits all of us.
This has been a truly insightful deep dive into the world of ocean colonization.
Listeners, we'd love to hear from you. What are your thoughts on the future of ocean colonization? What excites you about it? What concerns you? Share your perspectives in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like and subscribe to 15-Minute Discourse for more explorations of the ideas and innovations that are shaping our world. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep imagining the possibilities.